This is the side of my property, butting up next to my driveway. And over here is where I keep my garbage pails, and I keep them on a rubber pad. And the reason I'm doing that right now is under there is a large tree stump. We had a huge tree removed, which totally destroyed the driveway, and it has not totally decomposed. So I really can't plant in that area, but I did kill all the grass everywhere else, pulled it all up. It hasn't grown back in like a month, which is good. Over here, I also had a small maple tree that I may have some trouble getting a plant in, but I don't plan on doing anything that close to the driveway. I'm going to be moving the plants a little further back and starting back here along the grass line and seeing how it plays out. I want to tell you I was very conservative in the amount and type of plants I decided to buy, because after a while it does get to be a little pricey, and it's kind of labor intensive. As you get older, it gets a little bit more intense to dig. So I don't buy really large plants, and I try to work within my budget constraints. So I only want to spend maybe a couple of $100 on the far end to plant in this area to start. I am going to be pulling some plants from my back garden because I have about 18 daylilies back there. They're overcrowded, and I think some of them would benefit being on the side of the house. I bought all my plants from Home Depot. They seem to have the best perennial selection left. And this is a grass that grows about 4 to 6 feet, and it goes down to, I believe it says -20, which is perfect for my zone. I just bought 5 of these because they're going to go 36 inches apart at minimum, and I think that will work fine. These are penstemons. I bought these. I've used these before in my backyard. They work really nice. They get really big, and they like dry conditions, which is perfect because when you overwater them, they start to droop. And then I bought the traditional sedum, which are also really hardy. They grow in any kind of soil. They don't mind drought, they don't mind heat. And so these are the 3 plants I'm going to start with to plant in the side. And I did buy some extra garden soil, and I do have some transplant liquid that I'm going to feed the plants as well. So let me get started positioning the plants. This is how I decided to position the plants. I put the 5 grasses in the back, and I staggered 3, 3, and 3. And I will put some daylilies in the very front here. So all I'm going to do is now dig the holes, and I did buy some additional in-ground soil, and I do have transplant starter for the plants. So I'm going to get started digging, and I'll see how well it digs out, because sometimes I do hit roots and I might have to reposition some of these plants. As I'm digging the hole, you can see I am still digging up some of the roots from the large tree, but I am going to cut most of them away, chop them away, digging the hole nice and deep, and I'm going to put some fresh garden soil in there, so they should be okay. Again, as you can see, I'm hitting some old tree roots, so I'm just digging out as much as I can, and I'm just going to amend the soil and put the plant in place. This is how the side garden next to my driveway is looking. So I planted everything that I could that I had purchased, and then I tried digging over here. Well, the roots are too intense, so I decided to make sure I found spots that I could dig. So I was able to dig 4 holes, and then I took the 4 daylilies out of my backyard and put them here. And now I'm just going to clean up and level all the soil, and any excess soil I'm going to level off underneath my garbage cans, so it should look fine once it's all done. Now what I like to do is use a rake, and I'm going to go along the whole edge here where it borders on the grass, or what I call weeds, and make sure I get out all the big clumps, and those are what I'm going to get rid of. I'm not going to deal with them. This is what a lot of the soil will look like when it gets dried out in Kansas. It just becomes big, hard, almost like rocks. So you really can't do anything with them. It's easier just to dispose of them. So this is what I'm talking about. This is like almost like a rock. You could put this through somebody's window and break it. And this is what you deal with in Kansas, at least in this part of Kansas. I'm in the, I guess, the northeastern corner area they consider us, and it's just terrible. The soil is just horrible. So to amend all the soil would cost a lot of money, take a lot of physical labor. I'm not willing to do it. I'm just going to take them up and put them in a garden bag and put them to the side for the trash man to take. This is the area where I put my garbage cans, and because the ground sinks a little bit, I'm going to make sure I water it down and fill it in a couple of times to make sure it's totally compacted. That's the easiest way to do it. I just water it down, leave it till it dries out, and fill in the rest of the wobbly spots, and then wet it down again and make sure everything is even before I put this rubber pad back on, which also needs to be completely hosed down and cleaned. So these are the plantings I've done. Penstemons, some grasses. These are sedum. Repeating the penstemons and my 4 daylilies. Now I want to tell you that these may encroach on my easement a little bit based on where my fence line is here. I don't know, but no one's ever dug up in this area before. If I have to, I will move the plants when it comes to that issue. But right now, I could not, again, dig in front here because of roots, but I think it's come out looking really nice, and when everything blooms next spring, it's going to look really nice and full, and will give me a little bit of dimension on this side of the house. I also finished removing this concrete that was here. They had it angled for some reason. I understand it was so you could walk, but it just really made no sense, and it was a tripping hazard, and I relayed the brick. So now that's all clean and neat, and I just like the way it looks a lot better. I can get some grass seed or some sod if I want. One last update I wanted to give you is last year I had planted really tiny little viburnum along this chain link fence area to create a screen, and this is how much they have grown in a year. It's just amazing. They lived through the winter, and they came back really strong, and I'm really happy with the results. So this concludes my side yard planting project, but I want to tell you, it took me a couple of years to do this because it took a while for the tree roots to decompose enough that I was able to dig. And then I had to remove all that grass. So it really took no time to plant once everything was clean and organized. Again, the preparation is everything, so don't be discouraged if something takes longer than what they show on some of these videos where people have all this equipment and augers and backhoes and they're able to do this professionally. I am not able to do that. I have to do all of this manually on my own and within a budget. So if you like this video, give it a like, share, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you next time on Big City Girl, Small City Living. Bye.